Welcome back to the program, and joining us now to review headlines in today's newspapers is Arise News analyst Emmanuel Efeni. Good morning, Mr.
Good
Emmanuel.
morning, Leila.
Good morning, Emmanuel.
Good morning,
Good morning.
Ruben. That was a nice one. Welcome you back from that school.
Thank you. I went back to class.
Just fitting with the students.
You know.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Yes. Now, let's start with these newspapers. The lead story, Nigeria to earn additional $1.4 billion annually from amendment of Production Sharing Contract Act. House considers bill today. Yes, according to the story, that bill is passing through the Senate. The Deep Offshore and Inland Basin Production Sharing Contract bill amending the Act. That law has been in existence since 1993 as a decree and became an act of parliament in 1999. Now, by the terms of that law, Nigeria ought to have reviewed the sharing formula in that contract as soon as oil price went beyond $20 or hit $20, because that law came into existence when the government was trying to encourage the international oil companies to invest in the deep offshore and inland basin oil prospecting areas. Now, it was inserted in that law that as soon as oil hit $20 and above, it should be reviewed so that the government Nigerian government can get better share. But somehow we have also, over the years, we seem to have slept on our rights. Even at that, because oil eventually, as at that time, oil was selling for about $9. Oil hit $100 per barrel some time ago. And yet, nobody bothered to call for the review. The Nigerian government did not call for the review. The international oil companies did not also call for the review. And I don't think it's in their interest to do that.
To call for it?
Yes. But if we amend this law, we're likely to be earning as much as this from the same production. But what happens to what we have lost over the years by not reviewing this? Can we still go back and get that? But it's important that the National Assembly is expediting action in reviewing that law so that Nigeria can earn more from these production sharing contract. Because ever since this law came in, we've had the Bonga, the Guinea, and other deep offshore oil facilities which have been developed, and the oil companies are making a lot of money from this production.
But you know, the review of this agreement has been before the National Assembly since as far back as 2003. Because what the law provides for is that every 5 years there will be a review. But successive, parliaments have failed, have refused to see it through. Even as recently as the 8th National Assembly, the matter was still brought up. So let's just hope that this time around, this 9th National Assembly will succeed in reviewing it. Everybody is excited about it, particularly the governors, since, it's hoped that at the end of the day, they will make more profits. The royalties that will be paid would amount to a lot of money for the states that will be affected. But the issue is not just about money. It's about what is done with whatever additional money comes into the coffers of government. So we should, at the same time, while we're focusing on this, join NATI, that's the Extractive Industry Transparency Agency, be asking for transparency and accountability, because Nigerians tend to get excited when, there is an opportunity to get more royalties, more money, but we often overlook the, accompanying side of it, which is transparency and accountability and fiscal prudence in the management of public resources.
And how to utilize that money for the greater good of the country without necessarily just splashing and spending this money, and at the end of the day, it's just another money down the drain, as it were. Now, let's move on to other newspapers. The Punch newspaper, minimum wage negotiations. Federal Executive Council can't decide for states. Governors, Labour awaits federal government's template, won't fire me. Wages Commission yet to get directive. Now, many other newspapers are also carrying a similar story as their lead. The Nigerian Tribune, minimum wage template. Federal government can't dictate to states, governors, while the Nation newspaper has the headline in this manner. Governors reject federal government wage pact with Labour. Negotiation to be based on resources. Union leaders threaten showdown. The governors, for once, they are now saying that the new minimum wage, the law, 30,000 naira per month, is binding. But the negotiated incremental
it's called consequential
adjustment, which has just been done between federal government and Labour, is not binding. At best, they will use it as a template to work out their own according to their capacity to pay. And for one, they are saying, according to their internally generated revenue. For the first time, the governors are saying all fingers are not equal.
Well, you know,
even
in
when
Nigeria,
we have equality of states.
When it is convenient, we talk about federalism. You know, when it is not convenient, we adopt a unitary
put our hands in the cookie jar,
of handling things. But what is clear is that the state governments cannot pay below 30,000 naira, which is what is agreed.
Exactly.
That is the law. You know, to do otherwise will be a violation of the new National Minimum Wage Act. And Labour has already served notice that any state government that refuses to pay that minimum, organized Labour will provide support for the state chapters to take such a state government to court and insist on rights. Now, the second leg of it is that, many of the state chapters of organized Labour, they are insisting that what has been agreed with the federal government should be the minimum in terms of consequential adjustment that the state governments must also abide by. And the state governments are saying no. They are not bound with the agreement, but, they are not bound by the agreement with the federal government on consequential adjustment. And I think they have a point there. And it's good that they have the support of the Minister of Labour in saying that the states, have the right to negotiate
their own consequential adjustment.
Yes, so the issue is about the consequential adjustment. The third point, of course, is that the meeting that was held in Enugu by organized Labour, the objective of that meeting was to work out a template to guide state chapters of organized Labour to negotiate with their state governments. At the end of that meeting, what the leadership of the Labour Congress told us is that the template, they had not prepared it because they will need to work out the details, and that will be ready. So we hope that that will be put on the table. But the fourth point is now that the state governors have met ahead of the release of that template that was supposed to come out of the Enugu meeting, they're saying that, look, a lot will depend on ability to pay. And I made the point earlier that, yes, sustainability is important because if any state government enters into an agreement adjusting the wage bill,
yes, and
they are unable to sustain it, then we would have a lot of crisis. But at the same time, while the governors are making that point, they should make sure that there is fairness, and justice in how they work out that consequential adjustment. Because you just have, some difficult governor who will just turn the thing into an ego thing. That should not be the
exactly.
The
well,
case.
There's room for further negotiation.
For negotiation, for dialogue.
At the state level.
Yes.
So let's hope negotiation will prevail and they will come to a compromise.
Yeah.
Yes, we'll move on. The Guardian newspaper, government gives condition for reopening borders. CBN lists gains of closure. yes, the federal government conditions that these countries must also come and discuss with the Nigerian government before the borders can be reopened. Some of the issues already raised by Nigeria, smuggling goods, imported specifically for the Nigerian market and smuggled into Nigeria, will not be acceptable, and the government need to come and give some commitment in this direction. Then the gains, which the central bank governor talked about, that now the rice millers and the rice farmers are smiling to the bank. Because
and
before,
poultry farmers.
Yes,
too.
poultry farmers. We hope that is the case. But the central bank governor seems to be doing a better job than the Minister of Agriculture, than the Minister of Information.
Well, I said earlier before you came on set that, you should avoid getting too involved in politics.
Focus on monetary
because
policy.
sometimes
It's not politics.
He makes political statements that are beyond the purview of his mandate.
Yeah.
And he just must watch it. In that
Is he doing a
regard.
good job?
He has a 5-year plan. So let's wait until after the 5 years.
We're just following his
and we'll
roadmap.
see his strategic
I
plan.
wish we were running a parliamentary system. The
But do
president
you
will
have
just-
any foreign
The
stories?
president will just make him the prime minister because he seems to be doing a better job. Yes. Now, the foreign stories, The Guardian, UK, Johnson abandons Brexit bill in new push for December election. Yes, he couldn't get that through Parliament as expected because he could not pull the 2/3 votes needed.
Well, but today he's going to present a bill to see if the matter can be decided on the basis of a simple majority.
Simple majority.
Yeah.
And, all Conservative MPs supported him. The Lib Dems supported him, except one person. Yesterday, the Labour MPs, the SNP MPs, and the DUP MPs, they all abstained from voting. But let us see what happens today. There is disagreement over the date,
Yes.
whether it should be December 9 or it should be December 12. But what the law says is that you can't call election without a gap of 25 days.
Yeah.
So, and that's what makes December 9 maybe unrealistic. And, the others are saying you can't disenfranchise students.
Students.
So
Thank
let's see
you,
what
Mr.
happens today.
Efeni.
Thank you very much,
See you
Emmanuel Efeni.
tomorrow.